So you talked a little bit about your team. I just want to talk about that because again, I've interacted now with your team in a couple different places, and they represent you really well. Um, what do you look for when you go out and bring people on board? What is the number one attribute you look for in your team?
Yeah, so it's a good question, and I mean, on that actually, the first 5 years I was involved in every hire, right? And but actually, even with that, we probably didn't have the best hiring process, right? I think now we've got a better process where we have the structure. Like, let's say typically it's a three part interview sort of structure. Your initial kind of 20-minute sort of interview, asking certain questions using a scorecard. Then a longer second interview as well, scorecard driven, and then that kind of final in person when you've whittled that down. And I used to have that kind of final say on everybody that we hired. Now, unless it's a real senior hire, like if we have a more junior hire, I perhaps won't be involved in the process. But hopefully, I think we've more refined it that we know what we're looking for around that. And generally, I prefer to try and get mission-driven people in the company, right? And I think it's okay for companies to have a few mercenaries, right? I think like not everybody is in it because they really believe in the mission and the purpose and the why, but they're good people and they want to give you their best for 2 years, and then I think after that move on somewhere and progress, and I think that's okay. But generally, I prefer the mission-driven people because it is hard, right? What we do, right? But it is also so rewarding and valuable, rewarding for the people that we serve, but also rewarding once you see that the value that you drive, you get that back. And that's what keeps you going. Because certainly from the event side of things, events is a stressful business, right? It's very last minute in nature. Marketing teams can run 6-month marketing campaigns, and not see any traction right until the end, right? And that could be a little bit like demoralizing on a day-to-day basis. So you've got to be a certain type of person. So then I think with that, I also look for a bit of grit, right? Within the person, and maybe try and get from their life and from their work where they've maybe gone through some like harder times and how they've kind of dealt with that as well. Because generally we go through that a lot in the events side of things. We obviously have company values. We didn't have them in the beginning, right? Maybe for the first 4 or 5 years, we didn't really have any values, and then we've codified these. And so we just try and make sure that people stick to like at least 4 of the 5 values, or at a minimum. That sometimes like curiosity is one of the values, and again, I think the values really kind of come from me. But also the company have kind of helped shape this. But like with curiosity, I love curious people, and I want people that want to continue to learn and grow and develop themselves. But then we've also had we've been in interview processes and the final 3 for maybe a leadership position, and I found that none of them read. They don't read it like anything. And I'm like, okay, maybe because I'm an avid reader, and is that the only kind of form of curiosity? So I try and get them to just demonstrate some other areas of how they're kind of curious in nature. But in general, you can't necessarily find or not always somebody that is really reflecting all of the company values. But then we look to call them out, and see that people are living on them. And when we review, during the year and, at the end of the year, are people sticking to the values? And if they're not demonstrating them, should they be at the company?